All right, let's get to work. I've got probably a 4 or 5 inch log that's been suspended off of the floor. It's gonna bounce a little bit on me, but you guys will get the idea. 1095 steel. As I've said before in other tests, the temperature outside and the temperature of the steel when you're working with it makes a large difference in terms of if you're gonna get chipping or anything like that as steels heat and cool. This is 1095 steel, again becoming one of my favorite tool steels, but you gotta keep it very well oiled and dry. Even out here it's probably about 40 degrees, so it's not cold, but it's certainly not warm, and these knives have been out in my car all night when it was about 25 degrees, so it'll be a decent test for it, but I don't want you guys to think that I'm 10 degrees or anything like that. So be a decent test, but as always it's going to be wet, so you want to keep the blades well oiled up and as dry as possible. Let's get to work. I'll tell you what I noticed real quick with this is against the K-Bar Large Heavy Bowie is its weight. This feels like, and again I don't have the specs right in front of me, but swinging this, and it makes sense. One, it's a bigger knife, both in length and in the width, not the width of the spine, but the width of the blade. The handle's larger. The micarta is heavier than the Rtak is. It's just a heavier, bigger hunk of metal. It's a full flat grind, but also giving you an extra inch on the blade length plus a bigger handle. And I'm guessing this is probably somewhere around 16 inches total length, maybe a little bit more. Again, when I do my tabletop review, I'll give you all those specs, but you have a lot more velocity up at the tip of the knife as you swing through into the wood. So you deliver sort of a harder punch as you come through with this, and it's showing already. So I'll tell you another thing that I noticed real quick about this handle, and I bet I can solve two problems at once, is that it doesn't have a very good grip on it at all. So I would, if you buy this, if you're not a lanyard person, I would highly recommend it. I threw the reflective cord on this one, just because that's what I had in my bag at the time. But I would highly recommend a lanyard and go ahead and torque down on it, because with these gloves, this is a very slick surface here. This micarta over the rubberized, those Rtak handles, or even the TPC overmold handles. So what I may do is go ahead and wrap some of you hunters out there, you may wrap your guns and stuff like that in the camo foam, and I may do that as well. I may take some of that camo foam and just wrap some around, maybe up here in the choil area as it flares out, and maybe again in this middle spot here, and then again pretty much at the rivets is where I may go ahead and put some of that camo foam. And what that's going to do is it's going to give me a little bit more, it's going to be a little bit more resistant to that slip when you're swinging it, and it's going to absorb some of that shock as well, because that camo foam, it's a little bit thicker than athletic tape. Actually, it's a lot thicker than athletic tape, so it may cushion some of that. So that may be a modification that I make. And there you go. Very good chopping performance. Very, very good chopping performance. I would rate it, in terms of chopping, I would rate it an A. It's just, even though the full flat grind doesn't give you the best chopping as a hollow grind knife would, man, this thing's just got so much swing weight to it and velocity. It just powers through that wood. So I may drag this piece back a little bit and go at it again, but so far this is out chopping the K-Bar Large Heavy Bowie, and it's really a function of its weight. No doubt about that. You can tell just when you pick it up and swing it, you can tell that it's going to chop better.